When Threx stepped into classroom ring C12 aboard Unity Station 7, the room went silent. In this classroom, he was the only predator, the only Zargama, the only student with curved ivory fangs and retractable obsidian claws, trying very hard to look smaller than he was. His claws clicked softly against the composite floor. He kept his tail low, ears angled back in neutral submission, the posture his mother had drilled into him before departure. "You are not among the planes," she had said. "Earn your place before you claim it." Professor Ilmer adjusted his robes. "Class, this is Threx of the Zargama. He will be joining us this cycle." Several students stiffened. A Solari's neck frills tightened. A Kyalan's feathers puffed involuntarily. Threx felt the shift in the air. He hated that part. He hadn't bared his teeth. He hadn't even spoken. "There is an open seat in the back," Professor Ilmer added quickly. "Or he can sit here." The voice was bright, steady, unafraid. A human girl in the middle row raised her hand. "I'm Valeria Fuentes," she said. "There's space." Threx hesitated. Humans were unpredictable, often fearless, sometimes reckless, but Valeria's eyes were calm, curious, genuine. He moved toward her seat and carefully lowered himself into it. "Hi," she whispered. "Hello," he replied. "You're taller than I expected," she said, grinning. "That is typical," he muttered. She smiled like that was the most normal answer in the galaxy. And just like that, the suffocating tension in the classroom loosened slightly. The first week was awkward. Group projects assigned him to the farthest lab. Lab partners forgot to rotate. One student asked Professor Ilmer if Zargama had ever accidentally eaten classmates in recorded history. Threx pretended not to hear. Valeria did not. "That's not funny," she snapped. "Google exists." Threx leaned closer. "You should not challenge them on my behalf." She shrugged. "Why, you do it for me." He didn't answer because she was right. Valeria talked constantly. About Earth, about how humans learned that survival wasn't just strength, it was cooperation. "You know, we used to chase prey until it literally overheated," she said one afternoon, grinning. "Like, just jog behind it for hours." "That is inefficient," Threx replied. "It worked," she shot back. "Humans don't always win by being stronger. We win by being stubborn." He tilted his head thoughtfully. That sounded familiar. "What do Zargama do for fun?" she asked. "We train." "That's not fun." "It can be." She squinted at him. "You need a hobby." "I have combat drills." She groaned. "No, something creative." "I am not creative." "Everyone is, you just haven't tried." And that's how he ended up in the Slam Poetry Club. The first meeting nearly sent him back to the dorms. The observation dome was packed, with students snapping fingers and murmuring encouragement in multiple languages. Poetry. Threx associated words with strategy briefings, pack commands, tactical instruction, not feelings. Valeria signed him in before he could object. "You don't have to perform today," she said. "Just listen." So he did. A Kyalan recited a piece about molting and identity. A human boy performed something about gravity feeling different on Earth. A Grenth told a rhythmic story about ocean tides. The snapping fingers, the nodding heads, the shared laughter. It felt like pre-hunt storytelling around a fire. Pack bonding, different format, same instinct. Valeria leaned toward him. "See, not scary." He exhaled slowly. "It is similar to oral pack history." "Exactly," she whispered. "You've got material for days." He didn't believe her. But that night, he opened a blank document anyway. The confrontation happened 2 weeks later. Threx smelled agitation before he saw it. Corridor G14. Valeria backed against a supply locker. 3 older students blocked her path. "You think you're brave," one sneered, "hanging out with the carnivore." "He has a name," Valeria shot back. "Yeah, hope he doesn't decide you look like a snack." They laughed. Threx crossed the corridor in 5 silent strides. He didn't roar, he didn't lunge. He simply stood. Full height. Tail lifting slowly. Ears forward. Predator presence wasn't noise, it was certainty. "You will leave," he said calmly. One of them swallowed. "We were joking." "You were not," Threx replied. He flexed his claws once, just enough for the light to catch. He did not advance. He did not threaten further. He just waited. Seconds stretched. Then they backed away, quickly. When they were gone, he turned to Valeria. "Are you harmed?" "No," she said, exhaling. "Thanks." "You did not require assistance." "Maybe not," she admitted, "but I appreciate it." He nodded once. Protection was instinct. Restraint was choice. Humans seemed to understand the difference. The station-wide youth arts showcase arrived sooner than he expected. Slam Club would perform in the central atrium. Multiple species attending, even station administration. Valeria bounced on her heels backstage. "You're up last." "That seems unwise." "It's dramatic," she corrected. Threx's tail flicked nervously. He hadn't recited poetry in front of anyone except the pack, and they had eaten him if it was bad. He glanced at Valeria. "I am not prepared." "You are ready," she said. "Just speak from experience." He exhaled. When his turn arrived, the atrium quieted. The projector dome cast soft lights over the audience. Threx's claws tapped lightly on the stage floor. His tail swished once. He cleared his throat and began. "Hunting sploxworms with my pack. We stomp through mud, claw, and fur. Crunchy bits underfoot, smell of fear, taste of blur. I jump, I snatch, I run, I dodge. Even when I slip into the sludge. My pack laughs, I growl back. We tumble, roll, attack, then snack. Sploxworms squeak, wiggling, confused. But we are Zargama, efficiently amused. We chew, we leap, we howl at stars. Victory smells like mud and Mars. And humans watching, they snicker and grin. They call it fun, I call it kin." The audience erupted. Snapping fingers, laughter, cheers, and even whistles filled the atrium. Species of every kind, humans, Solari, Kialan, Grenth, and more reacted. Some exchanged smiles. Some tilted their heads in fascination. Some shook their wings or tails in delight. Threx's eyes widened. They weren't mocking him. They were appreciating him. Valeria's grin split her face. "You did it." "They laughed?" he asked. "They loved it," she said. More importantly, he noticed the eyes of his classmates. Some still cautious, some skeptical, but others smiling. Some even clapped a little harder. For the first time, Threx felt it. Acceptance. Recognition. The predator using his instincts, his voice, and his unique perspective to connect with others, without a word of explanation. After the showcase, students approached him, not to mock, not to fear. "Your poem," a Solari said, feathers still fluffed from excitement. "It's unexpected." "Yeah," a Kialan added. "I want to hear more about these sploxworms." Threx blinked. "They are worms." "Yeah, but your story made them alive," Valeria said. He tilted his head, thoughtful. The concept of words creating life, almost alien but understandable. It was something humans had been doing for millennia. Storytelling, empathy, creativity. And apparently, so could Zargama. That night, Threx wrote again. Not for the club, not for performance, not even for Valeria. He wrote for himself. For the pack in his head. For the audience in his imagination. And maybe for the humans. He realized they weren't weak, as he had once assumed. They survived on persistence, on cooperation, on imagination. Strength didn't only reside in fangs, claws, or muscle. Sometimes it resided in laughter, in rhyme, in connection. Threx, the only predator in the classroom, finally understood that. Unity Station 7 felt a little smaller, a little brighter, and a lot more like home.